Pickle! Hit the air, Simon. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show that got rained on. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting right next to me is the high school football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Matthew Stepp. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. It is rainy.
It is rainy. I got a question this morning on I did a couple of radio interviews. I got a question about, what was it, Craig?
Oh, yeah. Still.
That is a brag.
I mean, yeah, you talked to Craig Way. That's pretty
the other one was
awesome.
Tom Barfield in Waco.
I'm sure he's awesome, too.
He's great.
Know him, but yeah.
But they asked me about, like, the games tonight because there's going to be big, if you didn't know, there's going to be big weather throughout the course, really across. Is it going to be raining in Houston?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's going to be basically everything east of 35.
A lot of games that got moved.
I think I believe from what I heard last night, you were crafting up a plan for your war on weather tonight. You were crafting up battle plans last night.
I've just said for years we can blow up the sun. It's outlived its usefulness.
I mean,
name one
good technology.
Name one good thing it does. You can't. Anyway, sitting over there, making us sound good. Yeah.
Is photosynthesis overrated?
Did you just say photosynthesis on the show?
Yeah.
Get out.
Okay, all right. Well, see you later. Well,
and sitting over there making us sound good, she is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends.
Hi. Today is Friday, October 28th, 2022, 27 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean's 35 today. It's episode 1486. On today's show, folks, we are going to unveil the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week and the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week. And then it's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. We're answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, all of the things. If you go to TexasFootball.com, you go, or Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, get your comments in. We will answer as many as we can up until about 12. What, do you have a heart out?
No, I'm fine today.
12:45 for me, so we can go till 12:45 answering your questions. So let's get into that. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was, hang on 2 seconds here. Rob Hadaway, Tony Blaylock, Coach Terry Crawford, and Christo Fire 100. Welcome in, fellas.
Abbott has Penelope tonight. The Penelope Wolverines, which I've always thought is the greatest disparate like the greatest gap between like
a very
the sweetness
name.
of the name of the town and the ferocity of the mascot, the Penelope Wolverines.
There was that movie Penelope. Did y'all ever watch that?
Mm-mm.
The girl with like the pig nose.
Mm-mm.
It was an old movie.
Mm-mm. We're gonna stop down.
Don't know.
Penelope, 2006.
Yeah.
Yes, starring. Let me read the IMDb thing for Penelope. A modern romantic tale about a young aristocratic heiress born under a curse that can only be broken when she finds true love with one who will accept her as one of their own. So she's got pig nose.
See, okay, I remembered it correctly.
She needs a hot dude to fall in love with her.
Correct.
Right?
It's got Christina Ricci.
Because she's got a great personality.
Well, the hot dude is James
realistic.
McAvoy.
Is he hot?
Yeah, it's very much like Princess and the Frog-esque.
Okay.
You know, like you have to get it, or like Shrek, you have to get them to fall in love with you when you're an
star-studded cast.
ogre.
Christina Ricci, Reese Witherspoon, Catherine O'Hara, who was the mom in Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
So it's a star-studded cast.
Okay.
Peter Dinklage is in it.
There you go. Well,
anyway,
Pickle coming with the heat on Friday.
Well done.
That's welcome back.
Generally what you do, right?
Back.
Yeah, that's generally what she does.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl are proud to recognize the most outstanding high school football player in the state with the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award. Each week, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff nominates 10 candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. We then leave it up to you to vote at texasfootball.com. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced shortly thereafter. It is now shortly thereafter. So your Week 9 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week is...
Drum roll, please. Boom.
Tulia running back Damian Cedillo, who ran for, where'd he go? 302 yards and 6 touchdowns for the Hornets. Congratulations to all the nominees: Denton Geyer, quarterback Jackson Arnold, Aldine Eisenhower, wide receiver Ryan Niblett, Galena Park North Shore athlete touchdown Dave Amador, Harlingen running back Isaiah Bell, the Colony quarterback Carson Cox, Hallsville quarterback Jace Mosley, Mount Vernon running back Mackenzie McGill, Tidehaven wide receiver Tyshawn Davis, and Waco Conley running back Kiefer Sibley. But a very special congratulations to the Week 9 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week, Damian Cedillo at Tulia High School. Very well deserved.
Driven through Tulia before.
Have you?
It's right on I-27.
Oh, okay.
It's right. I think it's basically almost halfway between Amarillo and Lubbock.
It's like the halfway spot.
Basically, yeah.
Do they have a gas station?
They do.
I bet they do big numbers.
I think they have. I think they have like a Love's or something.
Ooh,
I know, it's fancy.
Dairy Max and Dave Campbell's Texas Football are proud to team up again this year to honor excellence in coaching and the hard work that assistant coaches put in on behalf of their teams. Each week, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff nominates 4 deserving assistant coaches for the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week and let fans decide on the winner via Twitter poll. It all leads up to the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Year, decided at season's end. Your Week 9 Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week.
Drum roll, please. Boom.
Mansfield Timberview defensive coordinator Ricardo Rendon. The Wolves' defense was relentless in its 80-0 win over district foe Dallas Sunset, holding the Bison to just 19 yards total offense and forcing a trio of turnovers, including a fumble return for a score. Congratulations to all the nominees: El Paso El Dorado defensive coordinator Brent Jaques, Bryan offensive coordinator Mike Waldy, and Lago Vista offensive coordinator Jim Adball. But a very special congratulations to the Week 9 Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week, Ricardo Rendon, defense coordinator at Mansfield Timberview. Very well deserved. Very quietly 8-0 and like number 2 in the rankings.
Yeah, they're
just bobbing along.
Yeah, our district's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a bad district.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I also got asked. We can do a hard stop, and then we'll talk about that. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Now, Pickle, it's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score on award-winning Honda, just like a rugged and reliable 2023 Ridgeline. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealer.com to learn more. I'm coming in with the heat today. I told you I'm back.
Man, you are rolling.
What was that? A rugged and reliable?
Yeah,
Honda?
rugged and reliable.
That's what the ladies say about me.
Rugged and reliable.
Yeah.
You're just like the Ridgeline.
Yeah.
They call him Matt.
Yeah, they call me the Ridgeline.
They call him the Ridgeline, folks. Rugged and reliable.
I made
broke
Pickles
me.
had a long couple of days, so I made her laugh.
That
So
broke
success.
me.
Success.
Let's talk a little bit of Thursday action. Get your
There you go,
questions in
Pickle.
Facebook,
That's-
YouTube,
Holy
Twitch, and
crap.
Twitter. We'll get to as
That
many
was
as we
great.
can up
Thank
until quarter till. We'll talk a little bit about. We'll talk.
We'll go till quarter till. That sounded. That
That's
was
Lano
very
Tepper right
country,
there.
Yeah.
Lano Tepper
That
coming
was
out.
like the most country I've heard you. It was good. Like
Yeah.
it adds.
It
to
resonated
the
with Pickle.
Texas football today. You know,
It resonated.
we're slowly breaking you down, Coppell boy.
I apologize to the audience for that slip. I was trying to say something other than 12:45. Anyway,
Love it.
let's talk last night. So a couple of results from last night that caught my eye. One of them, the big game last night, was Galena Park North Shore and Humboldt Tascasita.
Tascasita.
North Shore.
Keep it going.
She's on one now.
Yeah, I've been off for
She's
2
up
days.
now.
I'm ready. Well,
Pickles-
not off,
Pickles
but
fired up
I haven't
now.
been on the show.
Tascasita
Tascasita.
and Galena Park North Shore played in a football contest last
Oh,
night.
God.
And I've spent the better part of the last 18 hours, I guess it hasn't been 18 hours, whatever amount of time, trying to parse how I feel about that result.
Same.
Because it's hard because North Shore won, and
Against
it
a
wasn't
top 10 team.
and it wasn't a fluke. Like they made the plays when it mattered, especially on defense and special teams. They made the plays.
That special teams play you sent in the Slack. I was watching live, but oh
That
my
was-
God.
oof, yeah.
They made the plays on defense and special teams to win the game. But I also got to see the North Shore offense without Caleb Bailey against a good defense. And, I mean, there's no other
They're
way to put it.
limited.
They're limited.
Yeah,
They're
they're
very
limited.
limited. And so it's one of those things that they won last night against a top 10 team. Do I think that they could play 3 top 10 teams in 3 weeks and win them? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird that they beat a top 10 team on the road, and yet I come away from that being like,
To
not real
play
sure.
devil's advocate, though, I think that we're not used to ever seeing North Shore in a position where they really have to figure out a way to grind out, like get a really gritty win like that. So it does show, again, if they went next to 3 top 10 teams, could they do it? Probably not. But 2, it at least shows that they have stomach for a fight, which is a team that's successful doesn't always have that.
Absolutely. But let me push back on one thing, though. I think we have seen them grind out wins, specifically December of 2021. That win over Duncanville in the title game.
The freshman quarterback.
With a freshman
Yeah.
quarterback, they did grind it out.
Right.
So your point's well taken because
Yeah.
you're right.
I guess it's
Normally they have
with the injury that they
right.
have
Normally
right
they
now.
have star power enough to make up for it. On
They
the
don't
offensive
have.
side.
This is a fundamentally different North Shore team.
Yeah.
That's having to do it because they're not rugged up front on either side. This is a relatively smallish North Shore team
By
compared.
North Shore standards.
They're not as rugged up front, and I think and they don't have the star playmaker other than Amador, who they've taken him from his best position and put him at another. So you basically have a
down one and a
downgrade.
half players.
You're downgrading at 2 positions because you take your best wide receiver and you have to replace your quarterback with him, who he's obviously not Caleb Bailey. So I think North Shore is a limited team offensively as they stand right now. Now, will Amador improve? I mean, I guess he could in a couple of weeks. He's improved from now to when he first took over, but is he going to improve enough to make them markedly a different offensive team in the playoffs? I don't know. I think for North Shore in the playoffs, barring Caleb Bailey making a miraculous return to the lineup, I think you're going to have to see North Shore. I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, but they're going to have to grind out wins in this manner.
But what's so
against
interesting-
elite teams?
What's so interesting is that if you wanted to put to the test the importance of coaching and coaching staffs, isn't this just like the scientific ideal of that experiment, in the sense that you're giving it to the North Shore staff, which is one of the very best coaching staffs in America. I'll put it up against any high school football staff in America,
They
right?
do a great job, yeah.
For them to figure it out week by week, they're going to go in the lab and they're going to figure it out. Like, that's what's so interesting. Because, like, right now, so let's just say that, like, their 3 biggest games, hypothetically, would be a regional final against Atascocita, right? So a rematch. It would be a state semifinal against Westlake,
On the road.
and it would be a state championship game, let's say against Duncanville. Okay? Right now, if you were to go by our rankings, that's how it would break down.
Yeah.
all three of those teams, the more I've thought about it, all three of those teams are relatively limited themselves offensively. There's not a flamethrower among them, right?
No.
Atascocita, we just saw last night, got held to basically one touchdown.
I mean, if North Shore is going to hold, Duncanville or Westlake in a hypothetical matchup to 13 points,
yeah.
they
they can win.
Touchdown Dave
Now-
can grind the rest of that out.
touchdown Dave is a man who makes touchdowns.
But that's the thing. Doing it 3 times in 3 weeks.
That's a lot to ask.
That's a tough ask.
Lot to ask.
So they are a fascinating team moving forward. I'm certainly not throwing dirt on the team that has won 3 titles in 4 years.
No.
Okay? And that coaching staff, which is incredible. But we were sitting here last year after December, and we said that was the best coaching job John Kay had ever done. He may have to be even better this week.
I agree.
Which is interesting. Elsewhere, our own Mallory Hartley was at the Star in Frisco.
Game of the night.
For the game of the night, as Frisco Reedy survives Frisco Heritage. Heritage had this game in the bag. This game was done, and they got Michigan Stated.
Yeah.
With a Michigan State fan
the irony.
in the building.
Yeah.
As you get a blocked punt returned for or scooped up for a touchdown to give Reedy with 22 seconds left, something like that.
It was less than 30 seconds.
Less than 30 seconds to win the game. They're the first 10-0 team in the state, by the way. Congratulations.
Is that the
Reedy.
point where you take where the intentional safety is a player? I mean, I don't remember where they were exactly on the, but
They were on
I
like
think
they were putting from like the 25.
the punter was on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, it was way further back.
So they're on like
Is
the
that the
17.
Point? You're up 5. Do you tell the punter, hey, run around for a few seconds and then run out of the back of the end zone and run 5 or 6? Like that's the point I think maybe where you do. I mean, it's
they were up by.
They were up 5. It was 31-20. I'm looking at it. Yeah, the punter's feet were on the 5-yard line.
The counterpoint to that would be if you're up 5 and you give them 2 points, then you field goal of ties.
Yeah, field goal ties.
Yeah, I would
and you're
say
taking
you would
off
have
from
to
your
be-
20.
I guess the one place.
You'd have to be up 6. I think
6 would be the
6
6 would be ideal,
the
but you
ideal.
absolutely do it.
Yeah.
5, it's a 50-50 shot. It's easy to second guess because honestly, like you don't anticipate a pump block, right? Now Now that said, I would need to go back and watch it. I don't know how many gunners they had, but I basically I'm in max protect. You know what I mean? Because the number one thing you've got to do is get this punt away.
Well, that wasn't. I mean, that was the crazy ending of the game, but that game was the sloppiest game in the entire world. Like there were at least 4 turnovers, I think, by Heritage, and then there were that many. Like
See if I can
Mallory
pull
had
up.
texted me about halfway through, and she was like, "The amount of turnovers I've seen in this game is."
I remember her
absurd."
saying she thought it was a sloppy football.
Let me see if I can
game.
Yeah.
find this.
So the fact that it ended that way was like par for the course at that point.
For our friends at the Dallas Morning News, there were 6 turnovers total.
Yeah.
Reedy turned the ball over 4 times.
Brady did it. Okay.
Reedy turned the ball. Reedy won with 294 yards of offense. I'll come out and say it. I am skeptical of Frisco ISD as a whole. Maybe outside of like Emerson.
Which is weird because that's the newest one with no seniors. Yeah.
Reedy.
It's a down year in Frisco.
What about
That's
Independence? Independence was doing.
Independence got a nice win
All
over
right.
Lake Dallas.
They're
State, too.
I mean they're fine. We forget about the D2 schools because
Right.
they're not playing the other Frisco. I think Frisco, especially in D1, maybe is more balanced this year, but they don't have that elite team like Lone Star's been the past few years.
Now Reedy's 10-0, and they don't need to apologize for being 10-0.
No, but we're gonna find out quick
We
because
will.
they're looking at a possible second round matchup with Lancaster,
and that's
that would be tasty.
Because I got asked on the radio this morning about who's the team to beat in 5A D1 Region 2, and I think it's, in my opinion, it is very clearly Longview.
Yes, who took care of business last night?
Correct. Yeah, they that was like 7-0 in the first quarter, and then like the next time I looked, it was the third quarter.
It was
like
42-3.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Longview being Longview.
They'll do that. But the thing, I think I've come around to the idea that Lancaster's the second best team in Region 2.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm there. Now that's with all due respect to Mansfield Timberview, who hasn't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? They're number 2 in the rankings.
They're just in the position Lancaster was in last 2 years,
where they've
in that district where
yeah.
they're just not getting. I mean, Timberview. We'll know a little bit more. Timberview plays Richland tonight. Maybe Richland is capable of pushing Timberview a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's probably the second best team in the district.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's one other result that I want to talk about, and then we can get to some questions. Was the LBJ Eastside game, which was getting some run on Twitter last night.
Yeah, because of the score. Yeah.
So the final score was LBJ was won at 96-0, and it was 89-0 at half. They were starting the second quarter. They had running clock. this is, for me, there are no winners here.
Exactly, yeah.
There are no winners here.
Yeah.
That, like, we know Jamal Fenner. Like, we know him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going out there trying to embarrass
Ish
people.
said it perfectly on Twitter.
Yeah.
What do you say? I'm sorry.
The one
Wait,
you quote when you
the
quote
tweet.
tweet. Yeah, his
Yeah.
thread.
It's an unfortunate situation that they got bumped
It's a
up
perfect storm of bad
to
scenarios.
5A D2.
Yeah.
They got moved up to 5A D2 against Jamal Fenner's wishes.
Correct. Yeah. The LBJ football staff had a preference to stay 4A.
To stay 4A, but they got moved up to 5A D2 to be with the Austin school, so they get put into a district with Austin ISD, and they're just guys are just way better than them.
It's Austin. You have LBJ being at the highest point in their program history,
Correct.
and the rest of Austin ISD being probably in 5A at least being as bad as they've ever been.
I mean,
like even McCallum is not. I mean,
they had a run a couple years ago, but that was
not
the
good.
outlier.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, guys. Last night, like Eastside in our computer rankings is the last ranked team, in
and they were
5A.
playing the worst of the worst Austin ISD
Correct,
teams
yeah.
right now. The Eastside's really they're struggling.
They're
not
struggling.
good.
Like they were. Craig Way was on the call last night. He said that they had more cheerleaders and Palm Squad members than they had football players.
Yeah.
Right. It's a program that's struggling with numbers. Remember, they didn't even field a team the last couple of years
Yeah.
and stuff. So they're trying to retrench. And for LBJ, like, obviously it sucks for Eastside. It sucks. I'm not here to tell you it doesn't suck. I am also sympathetic to LBJ because they are put into an impossible situation where they can only look like the bad guy.
Yeah. And
And-
they've only got like 30 players at most. I think the game I did 2 weeks ago, they had 28 kids suited out. So they can't rotate in four-string running backs. So they don't have a four-string running back.
They have to they have a backup running back basically, and that's probably it. And like, I mean, so if you didn't, I mean, basically with 10:30 left in the third quarter, they went up 96-0. They basically, it sounds like they returned the opening kickoff of the second half. The only time that Eastside kicked off, they returned to the 2-yard line, and I think the guy stepped out on purpose.
Yeah.
And then, like, what are you going to do? Ask a freshman running back not to score?
Yeah.
So he scores, makes 96-0. And then for their final, they had 3 more possessions after that. They kneeled it 3 times. They punted.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, because look, and what's funny, we go on and on about round numbers and how round numbers are a construct, but like 100 points is like a shocking number.
Yes.
96 is a shocking number.
Enough, yeah.
Shocking enough. But 100 is going to catch like national news.
Yeah.
And so I know for a fact, that's not true. I haven't talked with Jamal Fenner. I know Jamal Fenner. I can tell you, I think confidently, that he's not out there trying to embarrass people. He doesn't want 100.
No.
And we also, the other thing is, you and I know this, tonight, there are no fewer than a dozen teams in Texas that will play tonight that could have 100 if they wanted it.
For sure.
They could have it, but the games are going to end 56-0, 63-3, 63-7, and you'll never think about it. It's just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm of just bad scenarios there. So
anyway,
I feel for obviously the East Side kids, and I do feel I know Jamal Fenner in his heart. And I think you leave last night. I don't think he left the stadium feeling good last night, and it sucks for them because they won the game. You should be happy about a district win, but I know he didn't leave feeling good because there was nothing that really they could do about that.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Do we have questions, Pickle?
Yes, your thoughts on Fulshire and Manville tonight?
Yeah, it's a really important game. I think for Fulshire got off to that really hot start. They've cooled off a little bit. I think part of it was that the strength of schedule kind of increased for them.
10-5 AD1 is tough.
Yeah, 10-5 AD1. They lose that close game to Angleton, but then they win a close game over Magnolia West.
Huge win for them.
They got to finish strong. They're at Manville tonight, and then they host Richmond Foster next week. So we'll know exactly where they stand.
They're going to need to win one of these games at least, or if they lose out, they're going to need some help. I mean, because that district's so tightly bunched for those, especially that 3rd and 4th spot.
Yeah.
I
that win over Magnolia West is huge because that's
nice
the
feather in
team
their cap.
presently in fifth place, and so, but if they drop both these and Magnolia West, who's Magnolia West finished with? Magnolia West finishes with Angleton. If they beat Angleton and then they beat Friendswood, which are both.
Friendswood's a winnable game. I think Angleton's going to win the district, personally. They got the head-to-head on Manville.
That's true. But I mean, Angleton does. They have the loss to Foster, and then they have Magnolia West tonight. That game, I I know we're supposed to be talking about Manville and Fulshire, but that game between Angleton and Magnolia West is really important.
If Angleton wins that game, they're probably getting the number 1 seed.
Yes,
yeah,
I would agree.
Manville's a bit of a mystery box too. I don't have a great read on Manville at all.
When they play well, they're really good. And then they've also just
they've laid a couple of eggs,
especially offensively.
Yeah,
offensively, their offense will no-show, and they've survived a couple of them. They no-showed against Friendswood. Yeah. They more
lost
or less
to Angleton.
Yeah, they lost to Angleton. They more or less Shadow Creek in the opener. I'm willing to week 1 that thing.
And Shadow Creek's a top 15 6A team.
And then Foster. Yeah. They only scored 28, but they win.
Manville. I don't have a good read on Manville going into the playoffs. Yeah, don't have a good read on.
I agree. I think for them, just the margins are really really narrow, and so they're gonna need to get their best game. As many weeks as they survive. So anyway, what's next, Pickle? By the way, I think I like Manville. I
do too.
Anyway, what's next?
Thoughts on Port Lavaca Calhoun going to the playoffs?
Huge win for them last week, beating Beeville.
Yeah, man,
that district's another district that's really everybody's kind of tight. Calhoun's 1-7. That was their first win of the season last week.
They're 1-7, but I think
they're really young.
But I think so. They get Rockport tonight. That's a pick'em game.
Yeah,
and then they finish at Floresville, which I think is also a pick'em game.
Everything. I think Lavernia has kind of established themselves as the district favorite. They beat Beeville tonight. They're going to be the outright district champs. Nobody can catch them. But I think those other 4 teams are. It's a battle royale for those last. But
3 spots.
Is
also. I also think because Calhoun's super young. Super young,
and they haven't been blown out of a lot. They've been close. They've had some bad luck with injuries and just kind of weird. It's been one of those years for them.
So they have a 6-point loss, a 7-point loss, a 7-point loss, a 6-point loss. They've been close in a lot of games.
Yeah,
and they're finding that's the mark of a young team. And the other thing is, you think about that offense. That offense is you have to learn it yourself. And there's no it's only with time and practice and stuff like that. And so it would not be a surprise if they've just gotten steadily better offensively. And now if they play their best game, they can win these last 2 and get in the playoffs. And it's okay, cool, we're 3rd place in the district. See you. We'll see you in the playoffs. They're an interesting dynamic that normally a team that was 0-7 a week ago, you'd be like,
they're off the radar. Yeah.
See ya. But they're a team certainly. They got to win out basically. But if they do that. Opportunity there for Richard Whitaker. Yeah. What's next?
Another district that's it's pretty set at the top, but the bottom section is interesting when it comes to playoff, and that's 7-5A Division 1. So the question was, will Lufkin be able to make it in? And technically they could, but most of it would depend on other people doing stuff.
I'm not even sure Lufkin can, at this point, get in.
If McKinney North was to drop one of their next 2 games against Forney, or I don't remember who the other one is.
I think McKinney North has to lose
both games.
Okay, yeah. Allow me to just let me be the turd in the punch bowl here. They close against Lancaster. Lufkin closes against Lancaster. I think they are sizable underdogs in that game.
Yes.
But they've already basically solidified their 2nd place spot. Lancaster has.
Maybe. Maybe.
It really depends on McKinney North.
I don't. Yeah, I agree. But
and they would have to lose both of them.
But the thing is that for
mathematically they have a shot.
Mathematically they have a shot, but they would need to upset the Lancaster next week.
The problem for Lufkin to me is the teams they're competing with those last 2 spots they've lost head to head to, which is McKinney North and Forney. So. They got to beat Lancaster, number 1, and then probably got to hope McKinney North or Forney loses a game that they shouldn't lose. It's a lot mathematically possible. I would put it at less than 5%. Less than 5%.
North closes against North Mesquite, who's
bad.
They're 2-6.
Yeah,
and then Forney closes against Tyler, who's also 2-7.
So
who's probably unfortunately.
I put it less than 5% at this point.
So I would agree.
That overtime, they're going to rue they had a big lead on McKinney North. Mm-hmm. They lost an over. That's going to come back and bite Lufkin in the rear end.
I agree. Yeah. What's next, Pickle?
Battle of the Dogs. Who you got, Bernie or Somerset?
I think this game's really under the radar. I like this game a lot, specifically because it's so rare that we get to spotlight, and the best game in San Antonio is a small school game. Right, but I think that's the case here. This is a Bernie team whose offense has been excellent. I think it's Jackson Bays, Baize, maybe Bays, and then his brother Braden
and he's
Bays
only a sophomore.
Is a senior wide receiver. And they got a great connection. For Somerset, this has been a really nice turnaround for Coy Detmer over the last couple of years. You remember 2019, 2-7, 2020, 2-7. And then last year, 8-3.
Was it 2019 or 2020 when his dad passed away? He was the head coach.
I think it was 19. Maybe.
Yeah, so they're dealing with kind of that transitional. I think Coy Detmer's firmly established and got his program in place there, and I think Somerset's starting to reap the benefits of that.
Yeah, I think that the Somerset team.
COVID, I think 2020 they took COVID. They got a late start. It was just kind of a weird.
If you like tight ends, though, this is the game because the Hendricks boys both play tight ends for Bernie, and then there's pro style for Somerset.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be there's a lot of tight end action going on.
You'll have a lot of 12 personnel back there.
There you go.
The other thing I would say is the real strength on strength matchup is this Bernie offense against the Somerset defense, which is playing really well right now.
Yeah, Somerset's really good up front.
Yeah,
Somerset's on both sides of the ball, really good up front. Yeah.
They got some 6'7", 300-pounder.
The
on the
kid committed to Rice.
Gallegos,
yeah,
Philip Gallegos. So they got some beef on them. So
I think Bernie wins the game, but I think it's gonna be close. I think Somerset's kind of a dark horse contender to Region 4.
I think they're Wiley. I think they're a team to not Wiley, Texas. I mean like Wiley, Wiley. Anyway, what's next, Pickle?
Thank you for the clarification there. Let's see. Hang on. 3A Division 1 Region 4. Dark horses or sleepers.
Oh, is that just the question?
Yes.
3A Division 1 Region
Period.
4.
Dark horses or sleepers for the playoffs. Lano! I didn't even think about that when I started reading it.
They're not a dark. They're one of the favorites.
They are the favorites.
I think Lano and Edna are your two favorites.
Lano and Edna.
If you're looking for a dark horse, I got two. Universal City Randolph, the Rohawks.
Yeah, they very much tested.
And Jordanton. Those are my two kind of dark horses.
I would say Randolph is the best dark horse candidate.
Yeah.
I'll throw Goliad in there too. Goliad
They're tricky.
They are tricky. And they play, so they have 3 losses. They have 3 losses by a combined 17 points.
Yeah, I know one of them was a close loss to Edna.
Yeah. They lost to Edna 21-7 last week, which is real. I mean, their defense is really good. They keep them. The question is can the offense do enough? That's really the question for them. They should win out and finish second or finish third in that district behind Edna and Industrial. But I'm a real Goliad's a sleeper that defense travels and their defense is going to be really good in the playoffs. So that would be a sleeper. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Lano and Edna are your favorites there. I'd love to see Lano versus Edna. I think that'd be a fun matchup. What's next, Pickle?
Who are the 2 teams other than Duncanville that you could see coming to AT&T Stadium from the left side of the bracket?
Let me tell you, the computer, we like Lano a lot more than the computer does.
Really?
Computer's not a believer. Computer's got them.
The computer
Pickle.
is wrong.
Computer's got them
Yeah.
14th.
I'm going to fight the computer.
Yeah. Computer's got them 14th.
I'm gonna put
Comfortably behind Edna.
I'm going to put the
Edna's
computer
fifth.
out in the war on weather tonight and watch it
go.
go.
Okay, so what was the question?
Duncanville, left side of the so Region 1, basically Region 1, Region 2. Who outside of Duncanville could be a contender? First thing I'll say is Region 1 this year. Division 2 in Region 1 is going to be stronger than I think in Division 1.
With South Lake Carroll and South Lake Carroll probably very likely now going to the Division 2 bracket, and then Geyer locked in.
And then Byron Nelson, Highland Park. It's pretty Division 2 and Region 1's a lot. Region 1 has a lot of question marks in Division 1. I could see North Crowley making a run.
Louisville.
Yeah, I think it's a lot
Those
more
are
wide
probably
open.
the two.
I think whoever comes out of Region 1 is going to be a significant underdog to Duncanville, or if someone else comes out of Region 2. 2 teams I think that I would look at in Region 2 to come out that could give Duncanville the best challenge would be Cy Ranch and Spring Westfield.
Yeah, Westfield always, because Westfield always just matches up front pretty well.
And last time Westfield and Duncanville, I hope Westfield does not employ the same strategy against Duncanville they employed the last time, which was talk a bunch of trash pregame.
Yeah,
because then they got beat 51-0.
Yeah, I remember that.
Highly don't recommend doing that. If you play,
was that the time we had a guy in our comments talking about how they were going to smoke?
No, that was Westfield and Longview.
Westfield and Longview.
And then he disappeared from the comments. Yeah,
we never saw him
no
again.
Westfield. Yeah, it was in Belton, and pregame we had it on Texan Live, and pregame they were chirping, and Duncanville was like,
bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea, Coach.
Don't recommend it.
No. All right, what's next?
Watch games on TexanLive.com. Thoughts on the job James Williams is doing at Fort Bend Marshall, being in a tougher district and posting their fifth straight district shutout.
I know he's happy. He was happy about the district realignment and we saw him at 7-on-7.
I'm glad we finally see Fort Bend Marshall get tested a little bit.
And I think that's going to bode really well for them going into the playoffs.
Because that's always what tripped them up.
Favorite in Region 3 right now in Division 1 and Division 2 is Fort Bend Marshall. And if you're asking me right now, 5A Division 2 state championship game is going to be South Oak Cliff and Fort Bend Marshall. Today,
I think I would
that's
agree.
my state championship game.
I would agree. Well, I've said it before.
They're doing a hell of a job.
I've said my piece about James Williams before. I'll say it again. I think he's one of the most underrated coaches in the state. I think what he does year in and year out, and again, I've gone on this soliloquy before, so if you heard this, I apologize. But I think people look at the playmakers they have and they assume that it's just all talent, and it's I think that really discredits his coaching staff. Same thing happens at South Oak Cliff with Jason Todd. Same thing happens at North Shore with John Kay. They had these. Same thing happens with Reginald Samples at Duncanville. That yes, they have tremendous talent, but they are also very sound.
Yeah.
Like Marshall is so sound in their.
And one of his proteges, OG Fagan, is the head coach. He's former Marshall OC. He's doing a heck of a job at Cy Springs.
He is.
He's got them in the playoff mix, and they've been a bottom feeder in Cy Fair ISD for a while.
Haven't made the playoffs since 2003, I think.
Yeah, and they're doing a great. They're right in the thick of it. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. What's next, Pickle?
Dale was his name, the guy from Spring
Dale.
Westfield. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Yale. Yeah, where is Dale? Dale Singletary.
Dale.
Yeah.
Wherefore art there, Dale?
Yeah, we miss you, Dale.
Amarillo Tascosa versus Lubbock Cooper is basically a toss-up. What makes this game projected to be so close?
The Cooper defense specifically.
I think both defenses. I think the computers got it right simply because I don't think there's going to be more than 23 points scored by one team. It's going to be a rock fight.
This is Iowa football.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's both offenses are okay.
The Cooper offensive line is pretty good. They've got some guys
really
on
good
it.
up front. Yeah,
they're
Cooper's
really good up front.
I think that's going to be the
Cooper
difference.
O-line against Tascosa D-line with Avion Carter, that's going to be
that's a
war. Yeah.
But the thing about Cooper this year's Cooper team is I don't think they're explosive. I don't think they have if you're going to be really good up front. Let's put it this way: what makes Franklin so dangerous is that they're big up front and they're physical up front, and then they've also got explosive playmakers who turn 3-yard gains into 30-yard gains. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Tascosa has that this year, or Cooper rather has that this year.
I don't think so.
And Cooper, or rather, and Tascosa is always happy to just grind you down. So I just think this game's got 24-21 written all over it.
It's going to be cold and rainy in West Texas.
Ugly.
It's going to fit both these teams' personalities really well. I think it's going to be if you like old school, throwback football, this is your game.
This is throwback football for sure. So I think I just think the computers got it right simply because I don't know if either of these teams, unless one of the teams turns the ball over 6 times.
Yeah.
I don't know if one of these teams is capable of blowing the other team out. A 14-point game in this one would be a relative blowout considering the defense.
Style play, yeah.
All right, what's next, Pickle?
6-man action. What are your thoughts on Erie County versus Menard?
Erie County versus Menard. Okay.
A little Concho Valley action there.
Hipster game of the week.
Yeah. I think Erie County's a bit underrated. They're undefeated to start the year. Their real signature win was in week 2 when they went back and they beat Spur, which is a win that I think has aged pretty well. Menard at 6-2, they've made a nice transition to 6-man football, and it's been solid for them. And their 2 losses, by the way, are pretty decent losses, Garden City and San Marcos Baptist, which was at one point a ranked 6-man private school team. I lean towards Erie County, especially at home. The question for me is going to be, can this Menard offense kind of keep pace with what's been a pretty high-powered Erie County attack? There's an Erie County team that's averaging 69 points a game. So I would look at that as the real, can Menard go score? Now, if it's raining, right, and it's going to tamp down scoring, that would play into Menard's favor. But I still think Erie County is going to be your favorite in this one. And the favorite, too. This is basically, this is a district championship game. Everyone has 2 losses.
You want to hear a crazy stat that I just saw? Totally not related to 6-man football.
And here with a crazy stat that you just saw is Matt Stepp.
Through 9 games this year, would you like to guess how many touchdowns Terry Bussey has accounted for?
He had
9 games.
7 in the first 2.
49
Cool.
through 9 games. Now let's extrapolate that out to. I'd say they're going to play. It's likely they play at least another 4 games.
Yeah, I would say they play.
I would say they get to the state
conservatively.
They got 1 more regular season game, and let's say 3 playoff games, just as a conservative estimate. He's averaging like 6 touchdowns a game. We're talking about 75 touchdowns.
Oh, did you see? I mean, what he did last night was insane.
And if he gets to the semifinals of the state championship, he's going to be pushing like 90 touchdowns.
So
he had 230 yards and 4 touchdowns just in the first half.
I just
last
got
night.
that stat just now. I know I had to derail Mailbag, but that's insanity.
So the record for most touchdowns in a season, and remember, passing touchdowns aren't going to help him here. He doesn't get credit for passing touchdowns.
Okay, this is probably accounting
that's
for passing
counting for both.
touch.
But if you're interested, the record is Jonathan Brooks and Jonathan Gray both had 70, 2020 and 2011. So I think that's.
Yeah, I'd be. I'm sure a lot of these 49 are.
Some of them are,
or
but
passing.
at the same time, like how
Interceptions
much are they passing in these blowouts? Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
it's just insane. Anyway,
he's scoring on defense. He's scoring on special teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
just
crazy.
totally derailed that.
Anyway, what's next, Billy?
We have one more football question and then a couple non-football questions, but we'll round it out with another district that might be flying under people's radars, which I know that y'all have a personal vendetta against one of the teams, but District 6-3 Division 1 is really fun because it's going to come down to Jefferson, Atlanta, and Tatum are all clearly in their spots here, like of trying to figure out who's playing who. But tonight, Tatum and Jefferson are playing. What's your thoughts on that? Because I know that Atlanta has burned you too many times.
I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to Tyler Morton.
Yeah, and Atlanta, Tyler Morton's done a good job at Atlanta this year. Yeah,
Tatum and Atlanta will play next week.
Tatum closes with Jefferson in Atlanta. So I think we're going to learn a lot about kind of how those 3 match up just with tonight's game because we'll get a measuring stick.
It's a real round robin.
Because Jefferson's already played Atlanta, beat him by 8. So clearly Atlanta has made strides this year.
Jefferson could secure it tonight with the win over Tatum.
I mean, Atlanta was 0-10 last year.
No, he's done a great job.
They're 6-2.
I'm mad at him. I'm going to be mad at Tyler Morton. So, Coach Morton, I'm mad at you.
It's good to see the Rabbits back.
I swore off Atlanta forever.
And now he's doing good things.
Now
they hopped right back into
because
your
of the talent they have. They're like the perfect mascot because Atlanta has always like been a track powerhouse, and they're the Rabbits. So this goes perfectly.
Although I'll just say this:
I like Tatum tonight, by the way. Cole Watson Hive.
Atlanta and Gladewater is a really interesting game.
Yeah.
Then we would absolutely.
Gladewater's 2-6, but they're like the best 2-6.
They've played a crazy schedule, but I'm definitely Cole Watson high. That Cole Watson from quarterback who moved in from Wascom, he runs that offense. He's like a coach on the field now, but it discredits how talented he is. He's a great athlete.
Absolutely. All right, 2 more, Pickle.
Non-football. Let's get ready. Let's go.
Yes.
What you got?
Favorite regional food that you cannot really get in Texas. The examples that they put out there were crab cakes, lamb fries, Philly cheesesteaks, like that kind of stuff. Like you can obviously get those here, but they're not. It's not authentic.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for either a good Philly cheesesteak or Chicago style pizza. Those are as a great man named Pucci once said, R.I.P. Pucci. Tomato pie.
It's lasagna.
Yeah, those are my two. Those are my favorites.
I love tomato pie
favorite,
as well.
right? Not disliked. Okay, yeah, Chicago style pizza, and then you go to Philly and get a good Philly cheesesteak. It hits different.
Yeah,
as the kids say, it slaps.
I would say essentially like Creole food.
Yeah,
like you can get it if you go to Southeast Texas and stuff
Beaumont,
like that.
Yeah,
you go to Beaumont, and there's a real Cajun influence, but I would say Creole food is something that I miss. And then. So one of the things, my wife's from St. Louis, and most of the food from St. Louis is garbage. But they are also the owners and proprietors of Toasted Raviolis, which you get them there, and they're just different.
I've never had.
Is there a St. Louis style pizza?
There is, and it's terrible.
Is it terrible?
Got Provel cheese on it.
Oh,
which is like processed white cheese. But those St. Louisans, they will swear by it.
Really?
It's gross. And
their ribs are kind of mid too.
What's that?
St. Louis style ribs are pretty mid too.
They're too. Yeah, I mean, I had good barbecue there once. There's one really good barbecue place up there that I enjoy.
Like Memphis style ribs are good, but
we had
St.
Pappy's. We went to Pappy's in St. Louis. It was pretty good.
Kansas City barbecue's okay.
Kansas City's good. I mean, we have our rivalry, but Kansas City barbecue is. I can eat that and enjoy it.
Guys. It doesn't have to be either or. Big tent.
Mine would be clam chowder. Like the Northeast has.
I'm chowder.
I'm huge. Yeah, I was just
Chowder.
gonna say I'm huge soup
Say
person, as
chowder.
y'all all know. But
Big
yeah,
soup
that,
girl over there.
The
Say
clam
chowder.
chowder up
Wha-
there is really good.
One thing, being married to a Canadian girl and living in Canada a good portion of the year, I do not like poutine. Poutine's
Yeah,
trash.
you're weird.
Yeah, I don't like poutine at all.
You're weird. You're wrong on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been wrong before.
And then the final question here, and this is just for y'all. Getting married in December, what marriage advice would you give yourself just before you got married? Like those final couple weeks. What's the advice?
Like, just for the couple of weeks, or
For
the course of the marriage.
Yeah.
That's a
I'll
good
give
Well,
both.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
give
you
both.
can do both. Like
In the
what
first- in the-
for the
in-
first couple
okay.
weeks, and then
You have probably been stressed out about this wedding for a while. Here's the great news. There's nothing you can do anymore. Okay, this is very much to go back to my streak. Once you get on the plane, if the plane's going to crash, nothing you can do. There's something's going to go wrong at your wedding. Something's not going to go to plan.
Yeah.
But
And your
you're
wife's
helpless. You
and
don't
your-
know. You won't know until it happens.
And your
you're
wife's
just
gonna
like,
be upset.
"Eh,
And
just happens.
yeah, just
So,
sit back and
like,
let it. I agree. The next 2 weeks, just sit back and just
eat Arby's, man.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
yeah, it's gonna happen. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna
There's
happen.
gonna be
Yeah.
something. There, there's they're gonna run out of beer, or they're gonna have they're gonna cut the cake at the wrong time or whatever.
Yeah.
I promise you, it will be okay. As far as long-term marriage advice, okay, this is my best. This is an actual physical, real, tangible, practical piece of advice. Flowers at the grocery store are like $5. Okay, they're like $5. If you go there, and my grandmother was a florist, and so I'm a big believer in this. Bro, you come home with flowers, $5 flowers, remove the price tag, but you come home with flowers like every couple weeks, that is an investment that you are making that I promise you is going to keep you off the couch. Just that kind of stuff, those little deposits. It is the cheapest, best investment you can
It's
make.
thoughtful.
Exactly, because oh, you were thinking of me. And I think, Pickle, you're a girl, right?
allegedly.
Somebody like
Pickle, you're a
like-
girl, right?
Like
Question mark?
Your significant other sends you flowers, even if they're $5, right? You're still
It
like,
literally happened like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I am doing long distance, and he came up to visit, and he showed up with a little bouquet of flowers, and it was the best thing in the entire
Right.
world. Like I knew he was coming, and he still showed up with it, and it was the best thing ever.
right. He's already thinking of you because he's coming up, but that is just a little token.
Yeah.
And those little, I'm telling you, I swear that's how I stay married.
I'll say for me, it's especially with my marriage and my uniqueness with being here part of the year, that kind of thing.
Your multiple
Just
lives.
yeah, exactly. Football being the
You
other
know,
one.
he is rugged and reliable.
Yeah, I am.
What can you say?
The ladies love rugged and reliable.
Call him Ridgeline.
I would say communicate. But communication works two ways, right? You can communicate verbally, and you say what you feel, but also communication involves listening, and being a good listener is key. Also,
Bro, yeah. When in doubt, love it. When in doubt, shut up.
Yeah, be a good listener.
I was
Yeah.
just fixing to say,
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you talk.
I am not married, but if you want a woman's advice on this, especially from a very, very
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for
Yep.
spitting them.
from a very, very headstrong, stubborn woman, I don't need like a lot of comforting very often, but every now and then I'll reach the end of my fuse, and it's like, all I need you to do is just let it all out, and then you're good to go.
Stand there, like sit there. Literally
sometimes
just,
all you need is someone to go, yep.
if you just sit there and be like, that sucks, and like your
Yeah.
feelings are valid. Like you say those types of things, literally, like use therapy words.
Yep.
Like I think I feel I know. Like those types of things, I promise
goes,
you.
yeah.
Yes, that's.
I don't
you do
need that often, but every now and then, every couple of months, I'll hit the end of my fuse, and I just need you to say, yep.
Pardon my French here, but like sometimes your partner just needs to bitch.
Yep.
Okay, just needs to complain, and like your job as the significant other, male or female, I would say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Male or female.
It does go both ways.
Your job is to just listen. You don't have to solve it. Your job is not to solve it. Your job is just to listen.
I had to learn that as a male.
Bro.
As a
I
as a
still have
dude, I think I could try to solve every problem.
Dude, I have
Sometimes
to
I can't solve every
I
problem.
I
Yeah.
have to relearn that a lot
Yeah,
too, because I'm
yeah.
just like, and like,
We're
my
wired
wife
that
will be
way
like, "Hey,
sometimes.
listen, dum dum. I don't need you to fix this. I need you to just shut up and listen."
Well, yeah, and especially
like,
because I work in an industry with all men, basically, and
Hi.
there's a lot of times that I just don't need another, like, if I just want to complain, I don't need a man to be trying to fix it. It's like, no, hush.
Yeah, most certainly. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending
Enjoy
a little bit of your
football
day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Where are you going tonight?
Mount Pleasant.
Oh, that's right.
I'm driving to Mount Pleasant tonight. I picked a great day to. Joe Cluley, you better be your. I better have a lot of great food waiting for me in Mount
Is there
Pleasant.
supposed to be good food?
There are reports.
Oh.
There are reports, yes.
You'll
We'll
have
see
to
on the
tune
vlog.
See the
I
vlog
feel like
and
Cluley's a guy you can trust with food.
on Tepin's stuff.
You can trust a man with a beard, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's very true.
Okay.
For Ashley Pickle and Matt Stepp, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you on Monday on Texas Football Today.
I'm not coming tomorrow.
Special.